What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Creative Tech, and today we're going to be talking about CPUs, mostly because AMD had their keynote at Computex today, and basically, in my opinion, the ball's in Intel's court now. So I just want to kind of go like roughly over what they talked about today and what that kind of means for people like us, in the creative world and computers in general. And we'll kind of go over what Intel may do, what they've done so far, and what this means for all of us. So today, AMD had their keynote at Computex, as some of you may know, and they announced Ryzen 3, which is the world's first 7nm architecture. And long story short, that just means that their architecture is smaller, which means that they can fit more cores in the same space that they would when they were running their 14nm. They announced the Ryzen 3700X, they announced the Ryzen 7 3800X, and they also announced their Ryzen 9, which is a 3900X. Now, it's got some great stats out the gate. Now, with that being said, you always have to kind of take everything that these companies claim with a grain of salt. Intel, AMD, Nvidia, all of them, they I'm not gonna say they kind of fudge their numbers, but they give whatever it is that they're talking about, they give it like the best possible chance. It's in like a utopia type setting. So that's why I always recommend waiting for third-party results and third-party testing and benchmarking. That way you get real-world results out of out of the actual product itself. So please do not pre-order anything. Wait for the third-party testing to come out, and that goes with anything and everything. In my opinion, don't pre-order software, don't pre-order games, don't pre-order products. Wait until it's already been delivered and reviewed and tested. That way you're not giving these companies money to run off of when they're basically giving you an unfinished product, or possibly giving you an unfinished product. So let's start off with the Ryzen 3700X. It's coming in at $329. It's a 8-core, 16-thread CPU. It's got a 4.4 gigahertz boost clock and a 3.6 gigahertz base clock. It's coming in at 65 watts of TDP. That's basically, from what I can tell, that's going to be like the direct upgrade from a 2700X, which the 2700X, in my opinion, is like right now the best all-around CPU that you can buy for the money. It gives you the best bang for the buck, performance-wise, just all in all around one of the best CPUs out right now. They also announced the 3800X. That's coming in at $399. That is basically AMD's answer to the i9 9900K, and according to their numbers, it basically blows it out of the water. The 3800X is it's an 8-core 16-thread CPU. It's got a 4.5 gigahertz boost clock. It's got a 3.9 gigahertz base clock, and it comes in at 105 watt TDP. Now, for reference, the i9 9900K, it's an 8-core 16-thread CPU. It has a 3.6 gigahertz base clock, and it boosts up to 5.0 gigahertz. Now, with that said, that's its own boost. There's people that overclock their 9900Ks, and they can do like 5.2 gigahertz like no problem. But with that said, as of right now, the prices for that, the price for the i9 9900K right now is $485, and that's, I mean, it's the best gaming CPU out there right now. But once Ryzen 3 comes out, the 3800X is gonna give it a run for its money, and I'll get into some performance details here in just a minute. Now, with that said, Intel did announce, I think yesterday, Intel did announce that they're coming out with a 9900K special edition, so it's going to be the 9900KS. And it's basically, it's just a binned 9900K is all it is, you know, they test it themselves to make sure that you can get the best performance out of it. So it kind of gives you like a guarantee in your silicon lottery. So with that said, it's got a boost clock of 4 gigahertz instead of 3.6 gigahertz. And it's guaranteed to boost up to 5 gigahertz like right out of the box. They didn't say anything about a price, but I'm willing to bet money it's going to be more expensive than the 9900K because, like I said, as of filming, it's $485 for that chip. They also didn't specify a TDP, which everybody knows that Intel's chips are, you know, ovens most of the time. Even though now they have a soldered IHS, they're still pretty hot CPUs. So and that's the thing, AMD didn't stop at the 3800X. They also announced the 3900X, which comes in at $499. It is a 12 core, 24 thread CPU. It has a 4.6 gigahertz boost clock and a 3.8 gigahertz base clock, and it comes in at 105 watt TDP. Now, the long story short, the 3900X, it blows and there again, according to their benchmarks, it blows the 9900K out of the water. So they went out of their way to compare it to Intel's i9-9920X, and that is a very high-end workstation CPU. Like literally right now they're going for $1,200 US. So, and the 3900X being priced at $499 is less than half the price of that, and it's on par with that. Just for reference, the i9-9920X, it's a Skylake CPU. It's 12 core and 24 threads. It has a 4.4 gigahertz boost clock and a 3.5 gigahertz base clock. It also comes in at a whopping 165 watt TDP, so you are definitely going to need some massive cooling for that chip. So, like I said, the 3900X gives that a run for its money as far as specs wise. I guess we'll get into some actual performance. Like I said again, as far as performance goes, all of this is coming directly from AMD. So I'm gonna, you know, like I said earlier, wait for third-party results. We had that, you know, that whole thing last year with Intel basically kind of fudging their numbers, and everybody called them out for it. So, like I said, it's always best practice to wait for third-party testing. So basically, they used the Core i7-9700K as the baseline for their benchmarks, and they did it in a single-thread performance and a multi-thread performance. And they did it with the 3700X, they did it with the i9-9900K, and they did it with the Ryzen 7 3800X. So they didn't even bother busting out the Ryzen 9 for this. In single thread performance, the Ryzen 7 3700X outperforms the 9700K by 1%. The 9900K, which is Intel's own CPU, it beats out their 9700K by 2%. And the Ryzen 7 3800X outperforms it by 3% in single core performance. Now, arguably, all of these are within margin of error, so that's not really that big of a deal, but it is, because knowing AMD's past with Intel literally for like the past like 10 or 15 years has been the single core performance king all day, every day. That's why it's so good for gaming, because most games, you know, they only utilize one core most of the time. There's some games that utilize more than one, but for the most part, gaming focuses on one core. That's why Intel's always been the gaming CPU. But that's that's kind of out of the scope of this video. Now, as far as multi-core or multi-threaded performance, that's where AMD really shines, and that's where it's always shined. So again, using the 9700K as the baseline, the 3700X, it outperforms the 9700K by a whopping 28%. Intel's own 9900K outperforms the 9700K by 35%. And the 3800X from AMD outperforms the 9700K by 37%. So that's a 2% difference between the 9900K and the 3800X, but that's within that 2%, which in my opinion is within margin of error. But literally, in my opinion, that's just going to blow everything away that Intel has to offer right now, based on, you know, using actual workstation programs like, you know, just rendering, 3D modeling, 3D rendering, video editing, photo editing, any type of stuff like that. It's going to blow it out of the water for roughly the same price. AMD did go on to announce some Ryzen 5 in the 3000 series. They're calling it the Ryzen 5 3600X. They have a 3600X and they have a 3600. The 3600X is coming in at $249, and the 3600 is coming in at $199. So that's going to be more of your mid-range CPUs, which, in my opinion, that type of mid-range is on par with last year's, you know, top range, or the high end, which that's kind of how, you know, that's how technology goes in general. So with that said, they're both CPUs are 6 cores and 12 threads. The only difference between the X and non-X SKU is just going to be a higher base clock and a higher boost clock. The non-X is coming in at a 4.2 boost and a 3.6 base, and the X is coming in. The X is coming in at a 4.4 gigahertz boost and a 3.8 gigahertz base. So yeah, like I said, guys, AMD is literally giving Intel a run for their money, and the fact that Intel announced, you know, their 9900K special edition, so they're basically, you know, they're just trying to pick out the best ones. It shows that, you know, Intel's kind of running out of tricks, because, you know, in my opinion, their 10 nanometer has been going as well as they thought. But according to them, they're still on par to have it released sometime this year. So that will be, I guess we'll just have to wait and see who knows, Intel might surprise us. But so far right now, I mean, I said all of that to say this. It is a great time for us consumers in the CPU market, because AMD is, I don't want to say finally, but they're really giving Intel a run for their money nowadays, and that's been a long time coming. So yeah, I will try to bring you guys some more news and anything from Computex as it comes out. We'll just have to kind of sit around and see what's going on. So appreciate you guys for watching, and be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell, and stay creative.